Alright, ladies and gentlemen, MrSotko here. Welcome back to the channel. We've got a bunch of new stuff for you today as usual, but the main story is that more than 8.5 million in Bitcoin has been seized by Israeli police. And now this article isn't necessarily unusual, as police have been seizing Bitcoin for quite a while now from criminals, but it's really the blatant crime and it is pretty interesting. So Halmi Git, a resident of Hebron, has been accused of multiple offenses of credit card fraud, providing means for committing a crime, carrying out fraudulent trade activity, and laundering the proceeds through Bitcoin. It is reported that Git managed to accumulate a total of 1,071 Bitcoin over the course of his crimes. At press time, Bitcoin is trading at 7,300, putting the total value of Git's fraud at a little over 7.8 million. So according to the indictment, Git ran a network of forums and websites used to provide information on how to commit a range of computer offenses. Well, what a really great guy. And so one such forum provided is reported to have provided stolen credit card information, while entry to the forum was free. Really, really good that it's free. Members could purchase a VIP membership to receive fresh credit card data. Oh my. So Git also published different guides in violation with the country's computer and money laundering law. Were they really in violation? I mean, all he was doing was providing a free and VIP membership to receive fresh credit card data. But wait, there's more. Reportedly, Git also ran another scam, fraudulently selling mobile phones, often members of his own forums, at substantially reduced prices. This is just a really, really upstanding citizen. The indictment describes a scheme in which Git would request that the customer transfer his money for the phone, after which point he would proceed to block the customer from the forum without ever actually sent the customer their phone. He would go on to publish a positive feedback message on behalf of the deceived customer, expressing gratitude for the cheaper mobile phone. Well, that's really good that he did it on behalf, because they couldn't do it themselves, because they were banned from the forums. So the Israeli State Prosecutor's Office claims that Git had requested all the payments to be made in Bitcoin. As such, he has reportedly managed to accumulate more than 1,071 Bitcoin between 2008 and 2018. Although, 2008, Bitcoin didn't exist in 2008. It was actually 2009. January 2009. So, yeah. But he is in the 1,000 club, so he's a pretty cool cat. The Bitcoin wallet of the accused has been seized, and the funds in it are confiscated if and when he is found guilty of his crimes. And the prosecution also seeks an extension of Git's confinement to the end of the trial due to potential flight risk, as well as concerns of having access to the internet will allow Git to continue carrying out the criminal enterprise he established over the past decade. Given the defendant's thoughts on his actions, the concern seems more than warranted. So, nobody ever mentioned that this fraud was occurring over the course of about 10 years or so. I know they were all banned from the forums, but nobody stopped anybody from going to this. It's kind of weird. Showing no remorse whatsoever, Git was quoted as saying, "We are thieves. From wherever we can take the money, we'll take it, no matter where. From Israel, the U.S., or even the moon, we will reach it and use it." I know that the moon has a lot of money on it. So he's got his sights really set really, really high. The moon, because of all that moon money. But yeah, and the next article is pretty much just as interesting. A London-based company successfully trademarks the name Bitcoin. Really? Did you, though? So multiple reports and public filings have shown UK-based firm ABC IP Holdings Southwest. Please change your name to a smaller thing, because that way people can actually remember your company name. Has successfully acquired a trademark for the name Bitcoin. According to a merchant on Etsy, IP Holdings sent a cease and desist order because they were selling Bitcoin-themed t-shirts. Oh no, such a gigantic crime. So this week, cryptocurrency enthusiasts found out that the name Bitcoin had been trademarked using the Intellectual Property Office in the UK. The news came to a shock to one merchant who was selling t-shirts on Etsy with the name Bitcoin and was told to stop his operations or be held liable in a court of law. So here's my thoughts on this. So if I was selling Bitcoin t-shirts and I got this cease and desist letter, I would take that letter and I would wipe my bare bottom with that letter. The reason why is because even if I was taken to court, now I don't know how foreign courts work, but the U.S. I do a little bit more. And then again, not really, because I've never really been a litigant in court. However, I would at least argue on behalf of myself that they never made Bitcoin. So how can you trademark Bitcoin? How can you trademark something that you never really made, that is not your intellectual property, nor is your actual property, physical or intellectually? So good luck on that, on suing people. So this just leads me to believe that this company is just greedy, and that they just trademarked the name Bitcoin just so that they could sue people. Because any reasonable person knows that they didn't create Bitcoin. I mean, so where did this company even get this idea? Which is a really good question, because obviously they didn't make Bitcoin, so how can they trademark the name Bitcoin? So it's really just a greed thing. It's just kind of like, oh, this Bitcoin thing, let's trademark it. Yeah. This Litecoin thing coming along, let's trademark that too. We didn't make it, but let's just trademark it anyway. So I don't feel like this is going to go anywhere, and like this is going to get shot down sooner or later, or these people are going to be countersued in some way. But yeah, so that's apparently a thing. So crypto traders clamor for more market regulation. So I've been talking about this for a little while on my channel about regulations of crypto, and not in the sense that like, oh, the government's going to take it over and run it for you. Because I know that, when crypto first came out, there were obviously virtually no regulations whatsoever with it. And, those were kind of good times. However, you could sign up with an exchange with just an email address. A lot of exchanges are being hacked, a lot of fraud, and we're seeing more and more and more of it as time goes on, as more and more people start to realize that crypto is better and better. When it first came out, it was $3, $30, $100, even $1,000. There was much less fraud and hacking back then, even though the whole Mt. Gox thing was pretty massive. Back then as there is now. There's much more now. And the reason why is just because people are realizing how much money it's worth, and people will do anything to get money. People will hack anybody, fraud anybody, conspiracies, anything to get more money. And so something needs to be done about that. So Ran Neuner, is that a real name? That's a real name, I think. The CEO of On-Chain Capital believes clearly defined crypto laws will sanitize the market. According to him, such a move opens up the industry to an influx of new money from mainstream investors like hedge funds and family offices. Even though so far mainstream investors have done nothing and futures have done nothing for Bitcoin except destroy Bitcoin. And I can't say for sure that it's destroyed Bitcoin, so let me take a step back on that. But if you take a look at the charts, futures came out on December 18th, and December 18th is when the price pretty much, as of now, permanently halved, more than halved. Now we're at about $7,000. We were at nearly $20,000. So, in my opinion, mainstream investors, futures, and things like that have done nothing for Bitcoin so far. So they hope they can catch people responsible for spoofing and wash trading, because we have to weed out the bad actors. If we weed out the bad actors, it's going to create, if we don't, it's going to create a lack of trust in this asset. If we want to make this a real asset class with real people, then let's weed out the bad actors. But the first step is legislate first, then let's regulate first, so we know what the playing field looks like. So now that's one thing I kind of do agree with, is spoofing and wash trading, and basically just overall market manipulation, because every time we get up to 10,000, it just goes right back down. And, you could say that that's a lot of people taking their profits, and I understand that every time you get to 9,000, 10,000, 11,000, those big numbers, it'll get to just about 10,000, and then it'll dip below that, because people are very uncertain if it's going to continue over 10,000, then continue over 11,000. So everybody sells around that time. So usually when you're day trading in general, you should watch for those $1,000 increments, because what's going to happen is you end up selling at like $10,024, and then it's going to dip all the way back down to $9,800 because of everybody selling their profits. And that way you can pick it back up for a couple $100 less than you just sold it. And that happens over and over again. But there's a difference between that and actual manipulation, bringing the price down so that these whales and other people can accumulate all of the crypto. Looking at crypto at about a $330 billion market cap right now, if you think about that, there are a few people in the world, probably many people actually, that could just about essentially buy out all of crypto. Now that's not too many, and obviously they would be well known if they saw that, but it just goes to show that $333 billion market cap is really not that impressive. 325 now. And, there are a lot of people in the world with a lot of money that could essentially buy all of that or manipulate that very, very easily. So, I'm hoping that that regulation leads to less price swings. So one of the things about crypto is that the volatility is really great on one end. for trading, because you can sell Bitcoin and then 10 minutes later it's $300 less. But at the same time, that's causing a big issue. You can't really use a currency that goes up $300 within an hour. Let's say you got $5 in Bitcoin and you're going to go to the store and buy yourself a gallon of milk, and by the time you get to the store, Bitcoin has dropped 50, 100, $300, and now your $5 is worth $4.50, and now you can't buy it. So that's a big problem with a currency. A currency has to be very, very stable for it to actually be useful in terms of a currency, and that's why Bitcoin is considered at the moment just a store of value and not necessarily very good currency. So an initiative to erect a monument of Satoshi Nakamoto in Ukraine's capital is gaining momentum and support. The idea is to place a statue right where the red Karelian stone figure of Lenin used to stand before it was taken down almost 5 years ago. The project is said to be a part of a global campaign to build Satoshi monuments around the world. So a monument of Satoshi Nakamoto may soon greet residents and visitors of Kiev, capital of Ukraine. The project to erect a statue of the unknown creator of Bitcoin and blockchain technology has been gaining support. The plan is to place a figure on the intersection of Kiev's main Kreshchet, I got nothing, Ukrainian, street and the Taras Shevchenko Boulevard. I almost got that one. The target spot is not a random place. Several years ago, it was occupied by the monument of Vladimir Lenin, the communist founder and leader of the Soviet Union. His statue was toppled and destroyed by angry protesters in December 2013. The act was one of the most memorable moments during the Euromaidan demonstrations, which led to the dramatic political changes in Ukraine. So I remember watching those protests on the news, and they were pretty wicked. There were snipers firing at people, and wow, they were insane. So they took down the Vladimir Lenin statue, and now they want to place Satoshi Nakamoto. But the thing is what is this statue even going to look like? We don't know who Satoshi Nakamoto is, and I really honestly believe that Satoshi Nakamoto is a group of people, rather, whether it be 2 people or 3 people or 4 people. I think it was many people, and in my opinion, I don't think Bitcoin could have been made by one person. I think there would have had to have been multiple people, some kind of think tank to make this. It just seems a little too complicated for one person to make. Also, there was the first person to receive Bitcoin. Oh, God, I can't remember that guy's name now. I always forget it. But the first person to receive Bitcoin was talking to Satoshi Nakamoto. Some people think it was that guy himself, and he was just essentially talking to himself to make it look like there was somebody else. So nobody really knows. So it's just going to be like some kind of dark figure of a statue of a man. I mean, is it going to be like an Asian man or a Caucasian man? Or, I mean, what is this going to be exactly? So that's kind of a weird thing. And it's just going to be some kind of faceless figure of a man. I just don't think a Satoshi Nakamoto statue is really a good idea. Like, we don't even know who that is. So I don't see how you can make a statue of someone you don't know. Bitcoin demanded for safe return of a beloved dog. So lately, there's been a lot of Bitcoin ransoms, whether it be hacking. There's lots of Bitcoin ransomware software. And they like one was in Atlanta. Some of them hit hospitals and things like that. And it locks up your computer until you either, I guess, just reformat it or get your administrator in there, which you should have a good administrator if you have a giant hospital or some kind of civil building, and reformat and get all that data back on the computers. Or you can pay these Bitcoin ransom, and then your computer will supposedly unlock, which I would never ever do, because why could you? I don't see how you can believe Bitcoin ransomware and that you just got to pay it and then the ransomware is going to go away. I highly doubt that. But it's been happening a lot with kidnappings and various things. So this article is kind of interesting. It's got a surprise in it, I guess. So last weekend, Patricia Howell lost her basset hound, Happy. She quickly took to local online forums and in-town pet communities, posting pictures of the dog and her telephone number while asking people to call her right away if they had seen him. Within a few days, she received a text message from a burner phone demanding $600 in Bitcoin or else Happy would be sold off or even killed. The scammer claimed to be using a burner phone supposedly so that the call couldn't be traced, and advised Hal not to go to the police. The only issue was Hal had been reunited with Happy earlier that day thanks to the help of someone who had seen the online post. Apparently, the scammer had found her personal phone number from the lost dog advertisements, so Hal immediately recognized it as a scam, as she could literally see her dog. She reported the call to the police, who said that they had heard of similar cases from around the country. So fake threats are being common. Another North Carolina resident and his duo of dogs also fell victim to the same scam after posting his information on websites that look to help people find lost dogs. He received an all too similar text message from a burner phone demanding approximately $2,000 in Bitcoin or his dogs would be killed in less than 10 days. Like the case with Hal, the dogs were already back with the owner before the text message was sent out. So it seems scammers are hoping that the attachment that owners have for their pets will convince them to pay up, not to mention the ease of Bitcoin transactions along with the lack of actually having to physically receive any ransom demand. In the end, Hal says it best when she states they need to find a better way of making money. They need to leave people alone and realize what they're doing is hurtful and so cruel. Yes, indeed they are. But scammers will be scamming. So the price will catch up to Bitcoin's record hash rate by Q3, an analyst says. So another, technically a TA, which, I never take too much to heart. When people have predictions and things like that, and even my prediction videos, while I'm making the videos, I'm always saying about how predictions can always be wrong. It could always go the other way. But everybody wants to make their own predictions and things like that, and that's fair enough. But don't really take any of them to heart, including my own or anybody even with big names, like John McAfee. So Bitcoin fundamentals and market indices at odds with each other. From an economic perspective, it makes no sense for miners to spend more money mining Bitcoins when the price continues to struggle. I disagree with that, because if maybe you're paying a little bit more on electricity, but you're getting $20, $30, $40 or Bitcoin a day, depending if you're using ASICs or whatever, and Bitcoin goes back to $20,000, then all of that money would have doubled or tripled by then, and you'd actually be in the positive at the end of the year. But either way. So a recent report by Morgan Stanley revealed that 8,600 is the break-even price for Bitcoin mining. In 2018, Bitcoin has struggled to stay above that price mark. However, network hash rate continues to rise even higher, despite the fact that the market has lost half its value. So we're at about 37.68 exahash. So the charts above show price movement and hash rate growth over the last year. Particularly interesting is that the mining hash rate steadily increases around the same time in the market correction when Bitcoin lost half of its market capitalization. To have that type of divergence, unless Aslam believes it is proof that miners have full confidence in crypto, thus they are willing to ignore the market indices by contributing more resource to mine Bitcoin. According to Aslam, the trend represented in the data above shows that miners remain bullish concerning the prospects of Bitcoin. Otherwise, it would make sense for them to divert their resources to mining other crypto. But again, these articles sometimes are just poorly written. I'm not saying that I'm an amazing writer or anything like that, but here's the thing: it says otherwise it would make more sense to divert their resources to mining other cryptos. But I don't think they realize that most Bitcoin hash rate rather comes from ASIC miners, and you cannot switch. You can't take an ASIC miner unless it's an FPGA, which usually mostly by call makes those. With the Giant X10 and the whatever. So the by-call miners are FPGAs, which can sort of switch algorithms, but ASICs are not. So they can only do one thing. So SHA-256, that's all they can hash. If it is a SHA-256 ASIC miner, that is. So they can't switch, right? They can only either A, turn them off, or B, keep them running. There is no other, there's no in-between. So it's not crazy for the hash rate to keep going up, because nobody's going to stop all of their miners unless it's a savage loss of money. And most of the time it just isn't. Most people realize that by the time you mine 1,000 Bitcoin over a year with a warehouse of ASIC miners, and yeah, sure, some of it might have been at a loss at some points of the year, but when Bitcoin goes back to 20,000, if it does, or 25 or 30, like everybody thinks it might, then their profits are huge. It's only unprofitable if you're selling the crypto like every week or every month in order to pay the bills or this, that, or the other thing. So it depends on how you're really going about it. But they're not going to divert their resources to mining other cryptos because they have ASIC miners and they can. I mean, yeah, sure, I guess you could sell them by other ASIC miners or by GPUs, but again, easier said than done. Bitcoin mining isn't for charity. It is a business. Miners earn rewards in Bitcoin for successfully mining a block. Aslam also believes that the price declines gives miners an opportunity to accumulate Bitcoins at much lower prices in anticipation of the next price rally. So another thing about Bitcoin mining is that you also get rewards from fees when you send it across the network. So when you use it as a currency and you pay that $1, $2, $3 fee or whatever in Bitcoin, you might wonder, who does that go to? And it goes back to the miners. So back in the day, it was 50 BTC and then 25, and then now it's 12.5 BTC per block reward. But miners, as a pool, and a pool finds a block and gives all of that out to the Bitcoin miners, and so everybody receives just a little bit. But that whole block reward might have been worth 12.6 or 12 or 13 Bitcoin or something like that, or even more, depending on how many people are using Bitcoin at the time. So those fees. So it's really good to be mining when the price is way up, and when the price is way up, most people are using Bitcoin. And then they're actually getting those fee rewards as well. So that's about all I have for you today. We can take a look at CoinMarketCap. We're at 325 billion, as I showed a little earlier in the video, and we're just going down at the moment. Great time to pick up some more coin. And I know I keep saying that, but I've said that every time that it's way down, and then it goes all the way back up. So I was saying, hey, it's a great time to pick up some coin. Let's see, price US dollar. When it was 7,000, 6,000, and then it went back up to 9,000. And if you had sold then and picked it back up at 7,300, you're still making money. So it doesn't matter what the price is; it just matters what the fluctuation is, so that you can continue making more. So in terms of that, it is what it is. So MyBit token, Wakey chain, Electroneum are actually way up today. So interestingly enough, Electroneum is actually pretty far up. It's still only at 2.2 cents, but sooner or later here, it might be a little bit more. But so far, I sort of lost faith in Electroneum. I was mining it for a while just for fun, to get 1,000 or a few thousand of them together. But and then the price just went way down, and the Electroneum devs aren't really doing too much with Electroneum, and I'm not really seeing any future development that's really that great with Electroneum. So I kind of gave up, but that's okay, because there's plenty more coins to chase. So the loser of the day: Centrality, Fusion, Dentacoin, Bytecoin, Skycoin. Not doing too good. So not many coins really even in the green at all, just randomly. So a big down market still. And, as we can see, the market is still going down. We reached our high, and we're all the way back at the price that we've seen in November. And we are still declining as of yet. So keep on hodling. Keep on mining. It'll be all right. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time.